Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 6th September 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 9 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So, let's get started with our discussion and let us see the list of topics we are going to discuss in this lecture. So, first topic we are going to discuss, it is about militants in Kashmir. So what happened, there is increase in number of foreign ultras in northern Kashmir. So this article mainly talking about this thing. So this will be important from our security point of view, which comes under GS paper 3. And next one is Nifa virus. So due to this Nifa virus, 12 years old boy died in Kerala. So here, this is the time to revise about this Nifa virus once again. So this is very important regarding health, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic we are going to discuss about logistic agreement with Russia. Okay, so this will be important from international relations, which comes under GS paper 2. So we need to know what is this logistic agreement and what will be the significance, that's what is the importance of that agreement and what are the benefits we are going to get with this agreement. And next topic, it is about Covishield. So what happened, there are a number of false Covishield vaccines that are mainly identified. So regarding this, what will be the health impacts? So we need to talk about that. That will be important from health perspective, which comes under GS paper 2. And next topic, we are going to talk about some editorials. We are going to discuss 5 editorials in this lecture. So many students are often complaining that editorials are not sufficiently discussed. But if at all that editorial which already I discussed, means if there is no new thing or new dimension, means I am not going to discuss that. Okay, so it is a waste of your time. I don't want to waste your time. Okay, so here in this lecture we are going to discuss 5 editorials. First one, it is about Kashmir issue. So this will be very important from our security point of view, which comes under GS paper 3. And next, about national monetization pipeline. So already we discussed this topic, I think 3 to 4 times. Again we are going to have a discussion now. And next topic, it is about recent UNSC resolution which mainly passed, and that is about Taliban. So that will be important from our international relations point of view. And next one, this is about quality of functioning of our parliament. So this will be important from our polity point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. And last topic, we are going to talk about the socio-economic caste census. So till now we didn't discuss about the socio-economic caste census in our Hindu analysis. So we are going to discuss that. So these are the some 9 topics we are going to discuss in a very great detail. And one more thing I want to say is, for the PDF of this class, so you can join the Telegram channel. Link is given in description box. And now let's get started with our discussion and let us see the first topic. Title says agencies flag surge in the number of foreign ultras in North Kashmir. So this article mainly talking about militants in North Kashmir area. So this will be important from our security point of view, which comes under GS paper 3. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. First, let us try to see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that according to official figures, foreign militants, they are increasing. So there is increasing number of foreign militants in North Kashmir area. And mainly we can see those foreign militants in 3 districts like Baramulla, Bandipora and as well as Kupwara. So in these 3 districts, there is increase in the number of foreign militants. So if we are talking about details, it mainly says that the sudden spike, there is a sudden increase in the number of these foreign militants. So because of increasing number of foreign militants, that mainly forced the police to restrict the movement of mainstream leaders. So here these foreign militants may attack these mainstream leaders. So because of this, now police are forced to restrict the movement of mainstream leaders. So if you're talking about these mainstream leaders, they are elected, right? So elected grassroots representatives. Okay, so these are people who are mainly elected, right? So these people now, they are having a fear of increasing in attacks on them. So because of this, now police, they are mainly forced to restrict the movement of mainstream leaders. So if you're focusing on data, it mainly says that there are 40 to 50 foreign militants, they are active in North Kashmir compared with just 11 local militants. So earlier there were just locally 11 local militants, but now there are about 40 to 50 foreign militants are present or active in North Kashmir area. So if you're talking about some facts, it mainly says that the foreign militants mainly build up, the foreign militants build up was taking place for a long time and cannot be connected with the recent situation in Afghanistan. So if you want to connect that situation with recently what is happening in Afghanistan, so it is not connected, it cannot be connected, because these foreign militants, they are building up mainly from long time but not from a short time. So because of this, we cannot connect this event with this, which is a situation which is mainly happening in Afghanistan. The next one is the presence of foreign militants in the rank of insurgent groups such as Jaish-e-Mohammed, JEM, Al-Badr, Lashkar-e-Taiba, LAT, and as well as resistance force. They had dried up in the first quarter of 2021. And the biggest success against these foreign militants this year was mainly killing of Saifullah alias Adan. So recently one militant, that is Saifullah alias Adan alias Lambo, mainly he was killed. So it is one of the biggest success against these foreign militants. And even IED expert Saifullah has played an important role even in 2019's Pulwama attack also. So these are some important things that mainly said in this article, and I want to give you a small homework like thing. So let me know your suggestions. So what are the steps that can be taken by government mainly to attack or mainly to control these foreign militants in northern Jammu, northern Jammu and Kashmir. So this will be your homework, and let me know your valuable comments in comment box. Now let us move on to our next topic. Title says 12-year-old dies as Nifa reappears in Kozhikode. So in Kerala again this Nifa virus reappeared, and that led to death of 12-year-old boy. 12-year-old. And now let us try to see important things that are very much relevant to UPSC point of view regarding this article. So this will be important regarding GS paper 2 under health. And even in your science and technology, you will be having a topic like diseases. In this disease, you will have non-communicable diseases and as well as communicable diseases. So from this disease point of view also, so this Nifa virus is very important. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that after a gap of over 3 years, a case of zoonotic Nifa virus infection, it was reported in Kozhikode district of Kerala. So in Kerala again there is an infection of Nifa virus which mainly reported, and that led to death of a 12-year-old boy. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that Kozhikode is reporting the deadly infection for second time in 3 years. So for second time in 3 years now there is again transmission of this Nifa virus that is seen. So if you are talking about data, 18 lab confirmed cases and there are about 7 suspected cases. They were reported from the district from May to June 2018. And here if you are talking about this virus, it is mainly transmitted to people through animals, and it can be passed mainly through contaminated food or directly from person to person even. So if you are talking about important reservoir or natural reservoir of this virus, it is fruit bats. So fruit bats, they are considered to be the natural reservoir of this virus. And what will be the symptoms? Symptoms mainly include encephalitis, respiratory illness, etc. So now let us try to discuss some important facts regarding this Nifa virus. So this Nifa virus, it is a zoonotic virus. So this virus mainly transmitted from animals to humans, especially natural reservoir is fruit bat. An organism which mainly causes Nifa virus, the organism which mainly causes this Nifa virus encephalitis It is RNA virus. Okay, so you have to remember, so this Nifa virus, it is a RNA virus. And next one is, so this RNA virus mainly belongs to family, that is Paramyxoviridae. So it mainly belongs to Paramyxoviridae family, and it is mainly closer to Hydra virus. So if you are talking about this Hydra virus infection, which is a rare emerging zoonosis, and here this Hydra virus, which mainly causes severe and often fatal disease in both infected horses and even humans. So the first broke out of this virus, which mainly seen in Malaysia and Singapore in year 1998 and 1999. And here this virus was first appeared mainly in domestic pigs, and it has been found among several species of domestic animals, including dogs, cats, goats, horses, sheep, etc. And if you're talking about transmission of this Nifa virus, so it may be transmitted through these fruit bats or even flying foxes. And this virus mainly present in bat urine, and also we can see in bat feces, saliva, and as well as birthing fluids of this bat. And if you're talking about signs and symptoms, so human infection presents as an encephalitic syndrome. So in this encephalitic syndrome, we can experience fever, headaches, drowsiness, disorientation, mental confusion, coma, and as well as potentially deaths. So these will be the signs and symptoms of this Nifa virus infection. So if you're talking about how can we prevent this Nifa virus, so as far as possible now, we do not have any vaccine. There is no vaccine for both humans and even animals against this Nifa virus. So whenever any person who is infected with this virus, so we need to provide some supportive care. Supportive care, it is mainly given to humans who are infected by this Nifa virus. So these are the some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic. Now let us try to see next topic. Title says logistics agreement with Russia to be signed soon. So this article mainly talking about logistic agreement. So whatever which is important from this article, we are going to discuss in a very great detail, and this is my promise. And this article will be important from international relations, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. So if you're talking about context, why it is in news, because India is all set to conclude bilateral logistic agreement with Russia. So we are going to conclude bilateral logistic agreement with Russia soon, when agreement with UK is in the final stages of conclusion. So now we are going to conclude bilateral logistic agreement with Russia. And if you are talking about agreement with UK, it is in final stages of conclusion. So if you are talking about details which are given in this article, it mainly says that the Navy has been the biggest beneficiary. So which is the biggest beneficiary? That is, Navy is the biggest beneficiary of these administrative arrangements, which mainly signed with several countries. So actually there are number of agreements which mainly signed with several countries. So in these agreements, here Navy has been the one of the biggest beneficiary. And here, so why Navy is one of biggest beneficiary? Because it will help mainly to improve operational turnaround, and here this agreement will also increases interoperability on high seas. And even with Russia, so we are going to come up with this reciprocal exchange of logistic agreement. So here we are going to sign this agreement within a month or 2 months. So if you are talking about some facts regarding India, already signed this type of logistic agreements with all Quad countries, that is Australia, Japan and USA, and even other countries like France, Singapore, South Korea. They are also beginning with this logistic agreement. And with US, we already signed LEMOA. LEMOA stands for Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, that is LEMOA, which mainly signed with US in 2016. So here you can get a question like, so from which of the following states we signed this logistic agreement? and you will get options like Australia, Japan, USA, South Korea, Singapore, like that. So you need to identify the correct things which mainly given. Okay, so in this way you can expect a question from this area. And if you're talking about significance, what will be the importance? So this type of agreements that mainly will be very much helpful for facilitating access to military facilities. So we can get access to military facilities for exchanging of fuel, and as well as it will be also increasing operational turnaround of military. And this one is provisions on mutual agreement simplifying logistic support. So these are some important significance. And now let us try to talk about what is this logistic supply agreement and what is the advantages. So whenever any country which is having this agreement, so this agreement will be very much helpful in power projection in international waters. And here it is very much possible, since the nation armed forces, they does not have to carry all required logistics. So if we are going there, so we need not to carry all logistics for sustaining itself. Okay, and hence a country's surveillance aircrafts and as well as fighter aircrafts and warship, they can enter into the other nations airports and as well as ports. Okay, and it can provide and it can get some necessary logistic supply from that country. And this agreement mainly sends across strategic message to the target country. And next one is, this agreement will also very much helpful to shift response to crisis situation, and even this will be helpful mainly to track enemy ships. Okay, and it will also helpful mainly to maintaining the presence of area of importance for entire year and as well as round the clock without interruption. So these will be the some important advantages of this logistic supply agreement. And now let us try to see next topic. Title says states told to identify fake vaccines. So this article mainly talking about fake vaccines. So why this is in news? Recently WHO said that we need to take some steps to counterfeit Covishield vaccines in the country. Okay, so here this article mainly talking about some regulations regarding this identifying of fake vaccines. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under health. So now let's try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that World Health Organization, that is WHO, mainly warning that it has identified counterfeit versions of Covishield vaccine in Southeast Asia and Africa. So in Southeast Asia and Africa, they came up with, okay, so they are, that is WHO mainly warning that it has identified counterfeit versions of this Covishield vaccine. So in this context, our Union Health Ministry written to all states and union territories. So Union Health Ministry written to all states and union territories, mainly they need to identify and as well as they need to identify this counterfeit or false Covishield vaccine in India. So if we're talking about some details, it mainly says that here the states have been told to be carefully authenticate vaccines before use. So before vaccine is mainly used, here states have been told to carefully authenticate vaccine, whether it is a true vaccine or not. We need to go for authentication. So in this context, center provided some details regarding identifying of original labels of these vaccines which are being administered in India. For example, we are having Covishield, Covaxin and as well as Sputnik 5. So ministry has issued some guidelines to ensure fake COVID-19 vaccines, they are not administered in India. So if you are talking about identification method, how can we identify whether that vaccine is an original or fake thing? So first and the foremost thing here is, so it is having some anti-counterfeit features. So on the labels of these vaccines, we are having anti-counterfeit labels. For example, there is invisible double helix. Okay, double helix, it is a structure of DNA. So this double helix or invisible helix, which mainly seen only under this UV light. And next one is, on this label we are having microtext. So this microtext which mainly hidden in the label dots, okay, and which is mainly written as Covaxin there. And this one is there is also green foil effect. So green foil effect in X of this Covaxin. So on this Covaxin, so for X there is a green foil effect. And this one is there is also holographic effect, that is seen on Covaxin. So these are the some important guidelines that we need to follow. And now let us try to see some facts regarding this Covishield. So Covishield, it is a name which is mainly given to Oxford's AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine candidate. And if you see technical name of this vaccine, it is AZD1222 or CHADOX1N-CoV-19. So these are some technical names of this Covishield. And this Covishield vaccine is mainly produced or developed by University of Oxford, and University of Oxford came up with collaboration with Swedish-British drug maker, that is AstraZeneca. And here now Serum Institute of India, which is mainly the one of manufacturing partner in India. So we are talking about constituents and action of this vaccine. So it is mainly based on weakened version of common cold virus, or we can say adenovirus. So this adenovirus, it is mainly causing cold in chimpanzees and even in humans. So this viral vector, which mainly containing genetic material of this SARS coronavirus to spike protein, okay, it is mainly present over the surface of the virus. So if you are having this genetic material, around this we are having nucleic acid, and around this we are having the spike proteins, right? So the vector mainly contains genetic material of this SARS coronavirus, okay, and here we can also see some outer surface of the virus that mainly helps it bind with a human cell. And this one is the body immune system is also supposed to recognize this protein as a threat, and to against this our body will generate antibodies. So this is a mechanism how this Covishield vaccine mainly works. So this is just of this topic, and I hope it is clear. And now let us try to see next topic. Now let us start with our editorials. So title says National Monetization Pipeline and the Infrastructure Deficit. So this article mainly saying that yes, now we are facing infrastructure deficit. So mainly for speeding up of infrastructure development, so this program is useful. And as well as if you see the central theme, which mainly says that infrastructure, which is very much helpful, it is a very much important key mainly for speeding up of our growth. So already due to this COVID-19 pandemic, there is economic recession we saw, and even because of this COVID-19 pandemic, even almost every sector of our economy had been got hit, and only one sector we are seeing just a positive growth here is agriculture. So apart from agriculture, and if you see manufacturing sector, or if you see service sector or any other sector, so which had been hit a last. So here, because of this, to come out of this, whenever we want to make any recovery, so infrastructure plays an important role. So this is the key theme of this article. So this article will be important from economy point of view, which comes under GS paper 3. And now let us try to talk about everything which is important regarding this National Monetization Pipeline program. So if you are talking about context, why it is in news. So if you see here, so the government's announcement of this National Monetization Pipeline. So recently government came with announcement of this National Monetization Pipeline. So this scheme mainly talking about transfer of the rights to operate public infrastructure for a fixed period of time to the private sector. So here, for example, if you say this is a public infrastructure and you are giving this public infrastructure for the private people, and private people, they operate in this area and they will go for building or some any development like infrastructure, etc. And here this area will be given on lease to this private sector. There will be no transfer of ownership, but only they will operate, they will have right to operate this public infrastructure, that is too for a fixed period of time. That means we are giving so and so infrastructure, or we are giving so and so area to the private sector, and we are giving on a lease, but not there is transfer of ownership. So if you see, in fact in India we are facing infrastructure deficit. So in India we are facing this infrastructure deficit. So here we need to address that issue of infrastructure deficit. We should not go for overlooking of infrastructure deficit. So in this context, what we need? So we need infrastructure. We need infrastructure that will be very much helpful to speed up of our growth. Okay, and it will also ensure dignified life and even after we seen of during this COVID-19 pandemic. So if you're talking about this plan, so this national monetization pipeline, which mainly envisages to serve as a medium-term roadmap for identifying potential monetization ready projects across various infrastructure. So under this plan, we are mainly focusing on a medium-term roadmap, and we are mainly identifying potential monetization ready projects that can be given lease to private sector. So this plan also estimates the monetization potential of rupees 6 lakh crore. That is from period of financial year 2022 to 2025, that is about 4 years of period. And if you're talking about objectives of this monetization pipeline, so here it aims for universal access to high quality, affordable infrastructure to common citizens of India. So whenever we are giving public infrastructure for the private for the development on a lease, then here people, citizens of India, they will get a high quality and as well as affordable infrastructure, okay, to the common people of India. So this is one of important objective of this scheme. And next one is asset monetization, which is mainly based on philosophy of creation through monetization. So we are mainly going for creation through monetization. So in this way, this will mainly helpful to tap private investments for through infrastructure creation. Okay, so whenever we are giving lease, so private sector, they will come and they will go for developing of infrastructure projects there, such that we are mainly tapping here private sector investment also for creation of new developmental projects or new infrastructure creation. And next one is, this is very much necessary for creating employment opportunities. So in this critical time of COVID-19, so many people, they lost their income. Even Pew Research report mainly says that there is increasing job loss, especially in this middle class people. So this type of schemes will be very much helpful for employment opportunities also. So whenever there is employment opportunities are created, that will lead to some income for people. So whenever there is people having money in their hands, they will go to market and they will make the demands for goods and services. That will lead to growth. So this is a cycle of economic growth, right? So in this way, this program, it is also focusing on seamlessly integrating rural and as well as semi-urban areas. And the strategic objective of this national monetization pipeline is mainly to unlock the value of investments in brownfield projects. It is not focusing on greenfield, but it is mainly focusing on brownfield projects. So this is one important fact that you need to remember. And now let us focus on what is the significance of this project, that is what is the importance. So if we are talking about first important thing, so it is a one of critical step. It is a one of a critical step that will help towards making India infrastructure truly world class. So whenever we are going for this public-private partnership, for example, whenever we are allowing this private people, so they will be using large amount of technology and that will be helpful for creation of infrastructure that will be of world class. And next one is asset monetization needs to be reviewed not just as a funding mechanism, but it is a one of overall paradigm shift in infrastructure operations, and it will be also helpful for maintenance, augmentation, etc. And next one is this type of models, they will also enable not just financial and strategic investors, but also even common people, they can participate in this asset class. Okay, so these are the important significance or importance. And if you are talking about what are the challenges, so yes, of course we are having some challenges. First one is there is lack of identifiable revenue streams in various assets. So if you say we are having roadways, we are having pipelines, etc., right? So we are going for mainly this NMP, National Monetization Pipeline in roadways, railways, etc. So we do not have a proper mechanism mainly to identify revenue streams in these so and so areas. And next one is there is level of capacity utilization in gas and as well as petroleum pipeline networks. So there is a level of capacity utilization which is very much less. And next one is regulated tariffs in power sector assets, also one of important challenge we are facing. And next one is low interest among the investors. They are mainly showing regarding national highways which are below 4 lanes. So these are some important challenges we are mainly facing regarding this national monetization pipeline. And now let us move on to next topic, that is about life after death. So this article mainly focusing on Kashmir issue. So especially beginners, they need to know what is happening in Kashmir. So here this part will be important from your post-independence time. So after independence, what happened in Kashmir and what led to this Kashmir issue which is going on till now. So after so many years of our independence also, we did not have a complete solution regarding this Kashmir issue. So we need to know what happened in history. So we are going to discuss that, and we are going to see what is this article saying now. So what is the present situation? Everything we are going to discuss. So this will be important from our security point of view, which comes under GS paper 3. And this topic will be important from our mains point of view. So if you see central theme, it mainly says that India must seize the opportunity to start a political dialogue to resolve Kashmir issue. So now here what happened recently, one important person who died in Kashmir. So because of this, now this event which mainly provides an opportunity for India, and India can start a political dialogue to resolve this Kashmir issue. So this is the theme. So if you're talking about history of this Kashmir issue, so we need to go back to 1947. So Kashmir issue had caused a tension and conflict in Indian subcontinent since we got independence from 1947 onwards. So during independence, Britishers, they created India and Pakistan as two sovereign states. So that led to problem or conflict between India and Pakistan regarding this Kashmir. So actually what happened at the time of independence, we are having more than 550 princely states. So we are mainly trying to integrate those princely states into India. So there were some important princely states, they were mainly creating some problem like Junagadh and as well as Hyderabad and even Jammu and Kashmir at that time. So these are some important princely states that created problem. So what happened at that time, Jammu and Kashmir, so it was a princely Himalayan state. So it was a princely Himalayan state, and this state mainly ruled by Maharaja Hari Singh. Okay, so this Jammu and Kashmir princely state was under the rule of Maharaja Hari Singh, and this person mainly acceded this Jammu and Kashmir to India in 1947, and he mainly acceded India through instrument of accession. Mainly he is seeking some military support after tribal raids. Actually from tribals from this Pakistan, they entered into this Kashmir. So after the entry of this Pakistani tribals into Jammu and Kashmir, so this Maharaja Hari Singh, he approached government of India and he mainly seeked some military support. Okay, so in 1947 after signing this instrument of accession. So in this theory, the princely states, they had option mainly to decide whether they need to join India or they can join in Pakistan or to remain independent. So it was the first thing which is mainly given some options for these princely states. So the people, they had been fighting for freedom from British rule, and with their struggle about to bear fruit, they were not only willing to let the princely states fill vacuum. So what happened here at that time of independence? So Kashmir, mainly it had the option to join India or to join Pakistan here. So at that time what happened, Maharaja Hari Singh, he was a ruler of this Kashmir, he was Hindu. But majority of people who are present in this Jammu and Kashmir, they were Muslims. So here, because of this, he was in a dilemma whether to join Pakistan or whether to join this India. Or what happened at that condition, at that situation, Maharaja Hari Singh, he mainly chose to remain neutral. But his hopes of remaining independent, they were dashed in October 1947. So October 1947, what happened? Pakistan, they sent Muslim tribesmen who were knocking the gates of capital Srinagar. So at that time, Maharaja Hari Singh, he made appeal to Indian government for military assistance, and as well as he fled to India. And later on, here Indian government said that if you sign this instrument of accession, then only we can help you. So at that time, Maharaja Hari Singh, he signed Instrument of Accession and he ceded Kashmir to India on October 26, 1947. And because of this, here the two countries, they have fought 3 wars over the region since the time. So what happened, the ceasefire was intended to be temporary, but the line of control, which mainly acts as a de facto border between two countries. But in 1957, Kashmir was formally incorporated into India and we granted special status for this Jammu and Kashmir through Article 370 of our Indian Constitution. So this Article 370, which mainly ensures important things like no Kashmiri Indians, that is non-Kashmiri Indians, the people who are not belonging to Kashmir, they cannot buy property in Kashmir. So if you are talking about present situation, what happened, if you are talking about 2019 August 5th 6th, so we came with revocation of two important article, that is Article 370. Okay, so now at what happened, Syed Ali Shah Gilani, he was more an Islamist than compared to the Kashmiri nationalist. He mainly died. Okay, so he was a person mainly obstructing some talks. So here this article mainly says that, so now in 2019 we came up with revocation of Article 370, and as well as now in Afghanistan, which is sharing boundary with Pakistan and even India, but India is not sharing this boundary with Afghanistan directly, but it is through Pak occupied Kashmir. So this Pak occupied Kashmir, which is under the administration of Pakistan now. So what happened now in Afghanistan, so Taliban, they came into power, right? So now we can see some volatile situation that is seen in Afghanistan, and because of this, Pakistan, they are having some friendly relationship with this Taliban. So because of this, here whenever this Taliban, they came into power in Kabul, so there will be some impact that can be seen in situation Kashmir. Okay, so finally article mainly says that, so Pakistan, it is mainly emerging as a key influencer in Kabul. So after this US, which mainly left this Afghanistan, so now here key influencer which is mainly seen in Afghanistan is Pakistan. So because of this, we need to have a wider deliberations with international communities regarding security challenges in Jammu and Kashmir. So due to this Gilani's death, it could be an opportunity mainly to set the stage for new conversations with various Kashmiri outfits, and government must use this moment to initiate comprehensive dialogue to find a way forward for the future of people of Kashmir. Okay, because this people of Kashmir will also belongs to our integral part of India. So this is just of this topic, and I hope it is clear. Now let us move on to next topic. Title says reaching out the undesirables. So this article mainly focusing on resolution, that is United Nations Security Council resolution, that is 2593, which mainly passed. So now let's try to talk about this article in a very great detail. So what's the thing which is important from UPSC point of view? We are going to discuss now. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that recently India led UNSC, India-led United Nations Security Council adopted resolution, that is 2593. So you have to remember this number. That is recently United Nations Security Council, which mainly led by India, adopted resolution 2593 regarding Taliban. So this resolution mainly sponsored by France, UK and US, and was adopted with 13 members including India, mainly voting in favor. So mainly we are voting in favor. If you are talking about United Nations Security Council members, so we are having permanent members and non-permanent or temporary members. So permanent members include P5 members and temporary members include 10 members. So out of these 15 members, 13 members, they voted in favor of this resolution 2593. But 2 countries abstained. They are Russia and China. Russia and China mainly abstained from voting. So if we are talking about some facts regarding this resolution, so this resolution which is mainly talking about importance of combating terrorism in Afghanistan, and as well as it is mainly focusing on individuals and entities designated to resolution 1267 of 1999. So in 1999, UNSC came with one resolution which mainly talks about individuals and entities which are mainly designated as terrorists. So here this resolution now, which is mainly focusing on importance of why we need to combat terrorism, and as well as it is mainly focusing on individuals which are mainly listed under this United Nations Security Council Resolution 1267. And this resolution mainly called for Taliban's. Here Taliban's, they need to facilitate safe passage of people who are wanting to leave this Afghanistan, and also to allow humanitarians to access the country and to uphold human rights, including for women, children, and as well as we need some negotiation political settlements in Afghanistan. So these are the things which mainly dealt with this resolution. So what is the significance? So if you're talking about significance, so it is a one of strong signal from United Nations Security Council and even from international community. Okay, so it is a one of strong signal from United Nations Security Council and as well as international community on its expectations with regard to Afghanistan. So how other countries, what is the thing which mainly expected by this United Nations Security Council, which is a one of the strong signal we are seeing now. And here this resolution mainly called for to keep commitments on preventing terror groups in Afghanistan, and also this resolution mainly urged Taliban to assist safe evacuation of Afghanistan nationals who are mainly wishing to leave the country. So recently we saw bomb blast outside this Kabul airport, right? And Taliban, they are mainly preventing these Afghanistan nationals to leave the country, right? So because of this resolution mainly urging this Taliban to assist or to help this safe evacuation of Afghanistan nationals who want to leave the country. And here this resolution mainly talking to address the concerns regarding anti-Indian terror outfits like LET, Lashkar-e-Taiba and as well as JEM. So this is about significance. And now let us try to talk about what are the recent developments of India in Taliban's engagement. So what are the recent developments of India in Taliban's engagement? So if you are talking about recent developments, so from Government of India, that is Ministry of External Affairs, announced that its ambassador to Qatar met with the head of Taliban's political office. So here Ministry of External Affairs announced that ambassador to Qatar. So here ambassador is going to Qatar to meet with the head of Taliban's political office, and also they are going to have some discussions regarding safety, security, and also early return of Indian nationals who are stranded in Afghanistan. So Indian nationals who are mainly stuck in Afghanistan, so when they are going to return. So these are the things they are mainly going to discuss. And also they are mainly focusing on Afghan nationals, especially even minorities. And also this mainly demanded Afghanistan's soil should not be used for anti-Indian activities and terrorism in any manner. So these are some important steps or important developments of India in Taliban's engagement. So if you're talking about India's future course of action, so what can be done? So first and the foremost thing here is, so here we are mainly having some concerns regarding Haqqani group. So here regarding this Haqqani group, we are having some concerns because this Haqqani group mainly they were participated in Indian embassy attacks in 2008 to 2009. And next one is being in touch with various stakeholders in Afghanistan and as well as meeting with Taliban representatives. So India in future which mainly focus on Afghanistan and as well as various stakeholders who are involved in Afghanistan. For example, China, Pakistan, even Russia, etc. So how other countries are mainly influencing politics in Afghanistan, we need to keep an eye here. And we need to go for talking or meeting with Taliban's representatives also. And here recently our External Affairs Minister, he said that so we are going to adopt a wait and watch the Taliban's actions with regard to human rights and treatment of women and even minorities, attitude towards terror groups, etc. So this is about the future course of action of India. So this is just of this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says the judicial role in improving lawmaking. So this article mainly talking about judiciary and legislature. So if you're talking about three important organs of state, we are having judiciary, we are having legislative, we are having executive, right? So these are the three important organs of our state. So between these three organs, we are having one important thing, that is division of powers. Division of powers which is mainly seen. But here recently what happened, legislature which is mainly decreasing. So relevance of legislature which is mainly decreasing because number of bills which are mainly passed without proper debate, discussion in parliament. Okay, so this is a thing which mainly discussed in this topic, and this will be important from GS paper 2 under polity, and this type of articles, and they are very much relevant in our mains exam, especially from analysis point of view. So now let us try to see central theme. So rushed laws and rendering parliament a rubber stamp sacrifice core ideals of constitutional democracy. So whenever we are going for rushing for making of laws, or whenever we are rendering parliament as a rubber stamp, then we are mainly sacrificing our core ideals of our constitutional democracy. So this is a central theme. And if you are talking about why it is in news, because recently we are seeing there is deterioration, there is a decrease in the quality of deliberation in the parliament over the time. So even on Independence Day, our CJI, our CJI N.V. Ramana sir, he also highlighted this problem of decreasing the quality of our legislature. So because of this, now it mainly prompted for the reforms from different stakeholders regarding our parliament. So while our CJI also suggested that even lawyers and intellectuals, they enter public life to improve deliberations, and the judiciary can also play a crucial role in improving the lawmaking process. So this article mainly says that whenever there is a decrease in the quality, or whenever there is deliberately deterioration of the legislative process which is happening, then judiciary can intervene. So judiciary can also play a crucial role in how to improve this law making process. So this is the thing which mainly said. So why? Because whenever we are going for rushed lawmaking, that mainly leads to parliament a rubber stamp. Parliament will become a mere rubber stamp whenever we are going for rushed lawmaking. Okay, so here because of this, whenever we are going for rushed lawmaking and whenever we are making parliament as a mere rubber stamp, so what are the important core ideals of our democracy is there, that will lead to sacrifice. Right? So what happened, for example, equal participation, respect of human rights, they will be mainly compromised. So if you are talking about evaluating the legislative process, here this Justice Ramana mainly says that judiciary can also play an important role in improving the law making process, and here judiciary also have a role to secure these ideals. So because we are having a checks and balances, so one organ will mainly checks and there will be balance between the three organs. Right? So in this way, judiciary also have a role in checks and balances, because so whenever legislative which is coming up with a law, so whenever this law which is not according to our constitution, then here judiciary can intervene and make that law unconstitutional, that is null and void. Right? So in this way, judiciary can play an important role in improving the law making process and securing the ideals of democracy. So if you are talking about our constitution, so in our constitution we are having a detailed provisions regarding how laws can be passed by parliament, and even how laws can be passed in state legislative assembly. So we already discussed about this topic in detail in our Lakshmikant polity series, so you can see that lectures. So when the result through voice votes are unclear, so recently what happened, so we can also go for voice votes actually. So if how many members of that house are saying yes, yes means ayes and no means nays, so based on yes and nays, so we can go for taking of voice vote, okay, by we can say presiding officer of that house. For example, in Lok Sabha we are having speaker, in Rajya Sabha we are having chairman. So chairman or speaker in the houses, they can take the voice vote. So what happened? So recently what happened means there is unclear about so number of yes votes and as well as number of no votes. So even though there are many bills which are mainly passed on this unclearness, exact number of ayes and as well as nays, they are not always counted. And even many bills, they are mainly passed, okay, so they are mainly passed without securing majority vote required under Article 100. And if you're talking about some important data, that I can say there is decrease in the performance of a legislature. So there is an issue mainly rose. Most recently there were controversial farm bills. So controversial farm bills, which are mainly 3 farm bills which are mainly passed, okay, passed very rushly and passed mainly through voice vote without clarity regarding how many members said yes and how many members they said no in Rajya Sabha, despite there are some objections from opposition party. So even there are many oppositions that is coming from opposition party members, but even though the voice vote mainly passed in Rajya Sabha regarding this controversial farm bill, and here these laws are made very much rush manner, that is very much fast. And similarly there are number of bills, they are certified as money bills. So who will certify these money bills? That is the speaker. So one important thing here is money bills, they will be introduced only in Lok Sabha but not in Rajya Sabha, right? So in Lok Sabha, who will certify whether that bill is a money bill or not? That will be speaker, and decision of speaker will be final. So normally speaker will be coming from ruling party of that is a majority party in Lok Sabha. So here this majority party persons will be introducing these money bills, right? Who will be deciding? That is speaker, and the speaker decision is final here. So because of this is also one important cause of concern. So bills, they are mainly certified as money bills, mainly to bypass Rajya Sabha, because in money bills the relevance of Rajya Sabha is very less. So whenever we are introducing bills as money bills, then what happened? So there will be no objection for this ruling party which is mainly introducing that bill in Lok Sabha. So because of this, even though the criteria or specific description of this money bills which is not satisfied under Article 10 also, so bills are mainly certified as money bills, mainly to bypass Rajya Sabha. So these are the 2 important causes of concerns which are mainly said in this article. And if you're talking about one theory which is mainly said here is presumption of constitutionality. So what is that word, presumption of constitutionality? So this presumption of constitutionality is a legal principle. So here this legal principle which is mainly used by court, that is they mainly presume, okay, they mainly think, they mainly suspect, okay, they mainly believe like that. So presumption means that is nothing but believing. So this presumption of constitutionality, it is a legal principle that is mainly used by courts during statutory interpretation of laws. So in this process by which court mainly interpret and apply a law which mainly passed by legislature. So it is a legal principles that the judiciary should presume that statutes which are enacted by legislature that to be constitutional, and unless the law which is clearly unconstitutional or fundamental right is implicated. So for example, if there is any law which is mainly passed by parliament, that means it will be constitutional. So whenever the thing which mainly presumed by judiciary that so and so law, it is a constitutional. Okay, so what happened here, so this is one of a legal principle here. So here whenever law which is mainly passed by parliament means, so judiciary that need to presume that law which is mainly enacted by legislature which is a constitutional. So if it is not like that, okay, so if there is no presumption means here it mainly says that this law which is unconstitutional or a fundamental right which is implicated. So if you are talking about this presumption, it is not absolute here. It does not stand when there is a gross violation of a constitution. That means, so what is the meaning of this constitutionality of presumption means? So if there is any law which is mainly passed by legislature passed this law, means it will be having some constitutional validity, right? So here it is a one presumption that here judiciary that need to think or presume this law which is again which is a constitutional thing. So whenever judiciary mainly found that there is any violation of constitution is happening, or whenever there is a violation of fundamental right is happening, so this here judicial that can make so and so law as unconstitutional. So it is a presumption of constitutionality. So this is mainly followed by judiciary. So it is one of a legal principle that mainly used by courts during statutory interpretation. That means whenever it is mainly focusing on any one law, or whenever it is mainly interpreting about that law, so the principle that it is mainly followed by judiciary is presumption of constitutionality. Whenever it is interpreting that law, if the court mainly founds it is against constitution, or it is against or violating fundamental rights, then it can make that so and so law as unconstitutional. So this is the principle which mainly followed by courts. So in this context, what is the way forward? What can be done? So in order to fulfill constitutional mandate, it is very much imperative that Parliament functions effectively. So we need to ensure that Parliament mainly functions effectively, and mainly we require making and following process like creation of a system of research support to members of Parliament. So we need to create some research support for members of Parliament for effective discussions, debate, etc. And next one is we need to provide sufficient times for member of parliamentarians to examine the issues, and we need to require that all bills, budgets, they ought to be examined by committees. So recent in monsoon session, there is none of the bill which mainly sent for parliamentary committee. So this is the one important thing that we need to remember, and it is a way forward. So this is the gist of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. Now let us try to see next topic. Title 6, the key to revitalize India's reservation system. So this article mainly talking about especially India's reservation system in the context of socio-economic caste census. So this article, it is very important from our polity point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. So till now we didn't discuss about this socio-economic caste census. So now we are going to discuss that in a very great detail. So before that, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. If you want to clear UPSC 2022, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial and as well as highly economical course, that is Current Affairs Package along with mains answer writing practice. So how this course will be useful to clear UPSC 2022? So one thing I want to say is, before entering into examination hall, you need to know at least 1.5 years current affairs. And this is right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 years current affairs. And here we are mainly focusing on answer writing practice. So if you join this course, you will going to write about more than 300 questions and as well as more than 50 essays. So in this way, this course will give you enough practice to improve your answer writing skills. And in this course, we are also providing you prelims test on every Sunday, and we provide you video explanation part. So in this way, this course which is designed as per demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. So details of this course which is given in description box. So please visit that once. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. Please make a note of this number. And now let's come back and let us see about the socio-economic caste census. So if you see context, recently what happened? Recently our parliament session concluded, right? So in this parliament session, there was a demand mainly to lift 50% cap on reservation. So mainly to remove this 50% cap on reservation, which mainly imposed by Supreme Court. Supreme Court imposed this 50% cap reservation mainly in one famous case. So let me know that name of that case in comment box. Don't forget about this, because I detailedly discussed about that case separately also. So with 2021 census which is coming up, so several political parties, they have demanded a national-wide caste census. So because of this, here socio-economic caste census is highly in use. So if we are talking about some facts regarding what is this socio-economic caste census first of all. So this socio-economic caste census, which mainly conducted in 2011. So it is one of largest exercise of listing of caste and has potential findings on inequalities at a broader level. So in this socio-economic caste census, it is one of largest exercise, and it is mainly talking about listing of castes, and as well as it is also focusing on finding inequalities at a broader level. So if you see some facts regarding the socio-economic caste census, so it mainly conducted by Ministry of Rural Development in rural areas and by Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation in urban areas. So this might be a potential prelims fact. So socio-economic caste census, it is mainly conducted by Ministry of Rural Development in rural areas and Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation in urban areas. So this socio-economic caste census excluded the caste data, and it was mainly published by the two ministries. And the raw caste data, so this data will be handed over to Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. And the ministry mainly formed an expert group under former Niti Aayog Vice Chairman to classify and to categorize the data. But if you see the details regarding only economic conditions of people, especially in rural areas and as well as urban households, they were released, but not caste data had been released till now. So if you're talking about what is the rationale behind this caste census, so first one is we need to talk about the role which mainly played in this reservation. So many people, they have urged that socio-economic caste census would be the best way mainly to rationalize reservation, which mainly based on data. Okay, and next one is if you see in jobs, even in education, the quotas are mainly based on caste, right? So whenever we are having the socio-economic caste census, means it will be very much helpful for evidence-based policy making. And at present, current policies are mainly based on last caste census, which mainly conducted in year 1931. And this one is this census data, which also very much helpful to government to identify most benefited section, and we can reduce a share in overall reservation to provide opportunity for others. And even caste census that would all actually being forward the large number of issues, that will mainly put forward large number of issues that our country needs to pay attention. For example, we can talk about people who are, that is which section of people they are mainly facing deprivation, and which kind of jobs are mainly pursued by which caste, that is, okay, that is the thing. And even this socio-economic caste census, which is very much helpful for even targeting government welfare schemes, whether these schemes are mainly came up for so and so section, whether they are benefiting or not, etc. That will be very much helpful. And here this socio-economic caste census, which also helpful mainly to break myths with caste. The caste census that will reveals actual data on caste, and as well as it will also helpful to remove ambiguities associated with this caste. And if you are talking about challenges regarding socio-economic caste census, so here in this socio-economic caste census, whenever you are getting much data, right, this reservation which is mainly going to cater only to small proportion of those who are mainly entitled to it. Not every people, they are not getting benefits of reservation. And there is also possibility that this caste based reservation that will also leads to heartburn, and that will also leads to increase in demands from larger or separate quotas like Patils and as well as Gujarats reservation, etc. And next one is caste census will give rise to caste division also. Okay, that will also leads to caste division. And one more thing is collection of this caste data. It is not an easy phenomena, because some people mainly believe that caste, it is a very important source of privilege and as well as advantage in our country. So because of this collection of this data, it is also not much easy. Okay, so this is about challenges regarding the socio-economic caste census. So whatever which is important from our UPSC point of view, I try to address each and every point. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll to this current affairs package. Thank you so much.